I knew every movement of Shutter Island. I had to before I wrote it. You had to. The book won't hold together unless you know every single little piece because the pieces are so. Um, so I hated writing. I hated writing every minute of that book. I still look at that book with a sense of PTSD because I hate to know what I'm doing when I write a book. I like to know one big thing at the end, one middle thing in the middle, but I never like to know every movement. For Shutter Island to work, you had to know every movement. So I knew every move. I know what the ending is. People argue over it. They want me to tell them. I've only told my daughters ever. I will not tell anybody else because my daughters are persistent in their mind. But otherwise, I just say it's up for your interpretation. I knew that if I wrote it correctly, the seasoned reader could really figure out the true answer. There is a true answer, but I want you to at least be able to argue about it. So I didn't exactly tell you what that true answer is, but I know what the true answer is. And I know it from the very beginning of from the first line, I knew it. So we had this psych ward that had been on this island called Moon Island, which is connected to the Massachusetts landmass by a place called Squantum. So we used to go there when we were kids. We used to go to Squantum. And then my uncle took us over to Moon Island one time and told us about working at this mental institution many years ago. And we were climbing around it. It was all empty. And it was the parts we were climbing around were submerged because there had been a massive snowstorm. So we were climbing up on top of it. This is during the blizzard of 78. And then my uncle told us all these stories about how the island was supposedly haunted by the ghosts of the mental institution. And then him being my uncle, he vanished. So me and my brother could freak out for about 10 minutes, like, ah. That stuck with me. It's just these things from your childhood, they stick with you. And so one day I was walking on a beach. I looked out. I remembered that. And I thought, what if there's like 16? I could be wrong on this number now. I used to know the exact number, but there's like 16 harbor islands off the coast of Boston. The furthest one is 12 nautical miles. I think Shutter is 13 because I just went to the furthest one and I went one more island out. And that's how I created Shutter Islands. It's just one of the harbor islands. There's forts out there. There's like osprey preserves. There's all sorts of weird shit. And and that mental institution is now a drug treatment center. So yeah, it was just a fun thing. I'd always wanted to write a Gothic novel. That's my Gothic. What made Shutter Island work is knowing that right from the beginning, whether it's because of a million things that happen over the course of the book, or whether it's because of the other possible answer, you're dealing with an unreliable narrator. And once you go in with that and you play fair, I always had to play fair. So if you go back through that book, you can literally see where I'm dropping massive clues to you. I'm giving you huge clues. And yet a lot of people don't get them because they bought into the fever dream of the book. And so there's a moment where Teddy is blatantly accused of something, blatantly. And not only does he not hear it, most of the readers don't. You just go right past it because if you're setting up the fever dream correctly, you suck the reader into the fever dream. But I would also say Shutter Island was my 7th novel. If I had tried that any time before that point, I would have failed. You got to build up muscle to pull off a book like that or be incredibly talented, which I am not.